Okay, we're back in my room for this one. I actually went to a park and tried to get my shit set up there, but I didn't really feel safe, to be honest with you. So came back home and I'm in my bedroom again, where I have been for the first 14 episodes. It's 11:32 at night, but I don't work tomorrow morning, so we're good. We're good there. I don't gotta go to bed and wake up in 3 hours. So that's why there's a late recording here. Everybody is sleeping except for my cousin. So no, I'm just insecure, bro. That's why I'm talking soft. So let's keep it real here. All right, guys. So episode 16 is underway. Just as a reminder, I guess it's my intro now, but I'm doing the podcast for me and nobody else. First 100 episodes, I'm not telling a soul about it. I can't have anybody on the show with me. It's all got to be solo. Every show has to be at least 20 minutes. I have to upload at least 5 podcasts per week. And I cannot pause or edit or anything like that. The show or remove anything. It is what it is. There's no edits or cuts unless I have to take a fat shit. Those are the rules. Those are the rules of the program that I made for myself, just to force myself out of my comfort zone and try some new shit and get some momentum going in the right direction. So by January 30th, I think it is when I will have 100 episodes uploaded to Spotify. From there, I'll have to figure out how to get them on different platforms. And yeah, and I say that almost every show, but I haven't looked into it once for any of the other shows, any of the other platforms. I think there's iTunes, Stitcher, Tidal, Google Podcasts, and there's a few other random ones. But why wouldn't I be on all of them if I can be on all of them for free, So that's what we're going to do. Those are the rules of the show I just mentioned. I'm literally just doing this for myself right now. This is so I can get some comfort, or I guess familiarity, say that word every time, in the whole podcast thing and talk to myself. So again, I'm sitting in my room right now. It's almost midnight, and it's part of my phase 1 of Live Hard. It's one of my critical tasks that I got to get done for the day. So I just finished that, record or follow a diet done. 10 things away before. Okay, so only thing I got left to do is record this podcast, finish my gratitude, my 10 things I'm grateful for in detail, 10 minutes of visualization, and then I got some random personal stuff I got to get done, and then I'm done. And that's a great ass feeling. So I'm going to finish this show up and hit those things and go my ass to fucking bed. So it's a good feeling. Got all my shit done. So I came into this show not really knowing what I was going to talk about, but time kept running out. They kept running down. I got to get this shit done. I got to go to bed. So here we are starting the recording. I don't really have a topic yet, but one thing that I was thinking about earlier, because I keep listening to more podcasts from Andy Frisella, old ones, and I'll go to his Instagram. I'll go to his Spotify, and I'll go. Let's see. I'll go to the podcast on Spotify, and then where you can search there at the top, you can search the. Why can't I search? Well, you can search the shows on your phone. I guess you can't on the computer. How do you do that? Well, on your phone you can search the episodes. On computer you can't. Oh well, I went on there and I typed in balance because I just had a podcast yesterday about balance, and it's cool because I came to the conclusion of what that was for me before I even listened to anything, and so hear him say that was fucking cool to hear him pretty much agree, if you will, of what I was saying. So I went to his podcast and I went and found other ones that talked about balance, and I listened to those as well. And he even explains it almost the exact same way that I wrote it down. I've been writing the 2 pages per day, and a few nights ago, or I guess a while ago, I wrote down. No, it was a while ago. This is before I even started phase 1. I'm not sure which document it's in here. But I talked about how people impose their own self-limitations and their own priorities and their own mentalities onto you. Not really with bad intent, but for example, when I tell people that I had my second job and they say, hey, you're going to get burnt out or whatever, I'm aware of the fact that that's their limitation and that's their life, and that's not me. So I'm choosing to just ignore that. I'm not listening to them, right? So, and Andy talked about the same thing. He said, hey, man, when you're starting out and you're doing the balls to the wall type work and you're trying to make something of yourself, there's going to be people that are going to say, hey, you're doing life wrong, whatever it is. And they're going to try to put their priorities onto you by saying, hey, you're out of whack. You got things that shouldn't be priorities as priorities. What are you doing? You're going to screw your life up. There's no balance. And so that's what he was talking about. And that same whole idea I wrote down in here. I'm actually going to try to find it real quick, and I'm going to read it off. Let's see. It's one of the very first things I wrote. One of the very first things I ever wrote in this document. It's actually what I was going to write the entire spiel about, but let's see if I can. All right, I'm scrolling here. It's a very long. It's 46 pages here. Okay, so I gave an example scenario. So I guess this is a little insight to what I'm writing, but so this is what I wrote. So others often tell us not to get burnt out or say we work too much or work our lives away. Who are they to make the call of what is too much or even too little of work for you and I? What does the word work even mean? So here's an example scenario. Your coworker, and this is pretty much just me in my life. Your coworker heard you just got a part-time job in addition to your full-time position. He quickly hops on the bandwagon that you'll get burnt out with 2 jobs because 60 hours of work per week is just way too much. He thinks you're making a great mistake and doesn't want you to get burnt out. He didn't even congratulate you on the new job. He just went straight to try to bring you down. That's the example scenario. So before you begin thinking about the answers to the following questions I'm about to say, or ask, I guess, try to mentally gather the facts of this person that is trying to bring you down. Be objective with them and try not to make assumptions about them. Just be mindful and honest with yourself as you answer the following questions, okay? Does this person have any qualities that I desire for myself? Is this person in a position in life, in any area, that I am looking to reach myself? How disciplined are they? What does their health look like? What do they value? What is their overall mindset about this issue? Why should I even value their thoughts and opinions? Have they gone through this before? Why didn't it work for them? So there's some questions, and here's some facts to consider, questions to ask. So this person is imposing his own limitations on you. Why do you think he's doing that? He used the word work. You two are two entirely different human beings. What does work mean to you versus what does work mean for your coworker? He also used the words too much in the context of work. Define too much work for you as well as what you think too much work is for them. And he didn't even congratulate you on your new venture or your new job or even wish you luck. Why do you think that is? And that's what I wrote. So I'm gonna keep reading a little bit here. Man, I gotta stop saying those fucking stupid ass filler words, dude. I'm reading here. What did I? Yeah, there's a lot of awkward silence going on here. I apologize for this one. Let's see here. A lot of awkward silence in this episode. I'm just reading. I'm trying to figure out. All right. Well, we're going to skip all this, bro. Too much awkward silence here. Don't burn yourself out. This isn't going to work. Trust me. My friend told me it's not a good idea. You should live a little. Facts to consider, questions to ask. All right. So I wrote down 3 questions here. So that was a lot of awkward silence bullshit. But there's 3 questions here that I think are the most important ones to ask. And I titled them Golden Questions to Ask or Keep in Mind. So the 3 questions you should ask yourself that I came up with when dealing with people who are doing shit, or with people who see that you're doing shit and they think you're going to get burnt out, right? So the 3 questions that I came up with that I think encompass everything is this person in a position in life in any area that I am looking to reach for myself? And number 2 is, does this person have any qualities I desire for myself? And question number 3 is this person above or below me in the context of success in this particular matter? And so an example is, we'll just say I am trying to start weightlifting and a guy comes over or my coworker comes over, he's fat, whatever, and doesn't really take his nutrition seriously, doesn't really do much in life, just goes to work, goes home, plays video games. That's the kind of guy we're talking about. He comes over and says, hey, you probably shouldn't waste your time with the gym. You should live a little bit. Who cares anyway? And you're trying to be beach body, men's physique, Mr. Olympia type deal, or whatever it is, beach body, looking good, trying to achieve things, get a girl, whatever it is. So the first question is this person in a position in life in any area that I'm looking to reach myself? So you want to be beach body, Mr. Olympia, get the girls. This guy is opposite of everything. So right there, is he in any area, in any part of life that you want to reach for yourself? Well, you want to be disciplined. He's not disciplined. Clearly, look at his body. And it is what the fuck it is, dude. You want to eat right, eat nutritious, eat the good foods. Look at him, dude. Clearly doesn't. You want to use your extra time for self-development and better yourself. That's what you want to do because you're interested in that. He doesn't, and that's fine. He's spending it playing video games and doing whatever, and that's fine. For anybody who's trying to come at my throat with that shit, you can do whatever you want. This is a fucking example. What position is he above or below you at work? You guys are the same position. Okay. So the first question is this person in a position in life in any area that I am looking to reach for myself? No. Okay, so we're already off to a great start here. Second question is, does this person have any qualities I desire for myself? And I guess when I break it down that way, that should have been the answer to this question. So is this person in a position in life in any area that I'm looking to reach myself? No. So you guys are the same position at work. You guys both drive a similar car. I don't know, maybe both married, one kid. You're there. You guys are the same in that regard for what you're looking for. So the second question is, does this person have any qualities I desire for myself? And that's what I should have answered the first one. So third question is this person above or below me in the context of success in this particular matter? So in the context of success in this particular matter would be the gym and bettering yourself physically and appealing to women and having a great body, all that shit, beach body, all that shit. So are they above, bro? I just said beloved. Above or below me in the context of success in this particular matter, and that would be an absolute fucking no. Well, I mean, if we're being technical and we're being real here, they are below you in the context of this thing. Maybe you'll say you got a little bit of chub on you, but you're not fat like this guy. You go home, you try to better yourself, you try to read, you try to study a little bit, research, whatever it is, better yourself. And this is all just an example, guys, okay? Before you start chomping out my balls here. Just an example to paint a picture. So, pretty much just these 3 questions, I think 3 alone here encompass everything of trying, or I guess qualifying somebody to be even giving you advice or anything in the first place. So, for example, I actually wrote this. Let's see. Where did I write it? You work too much, thinking critically. Okay, right here. So first of all, I'm going to read this. So first of all, what is too much and how do you define that? How do they define it versus how you define it? What even is work? What is work to you? What is work to them? Many people hear the word work and associate that with doing something dreadful or undesirable, not having a choice in the matter. Is that how you define it too? Maybe they hate what they do while you love what you do, and calling it work has simply never crossed your mind. Your aspirations for a greater life outweigh the possible unpleasantries of working too much, and as a result, you do just that. You work too much. And why is there such a negative connotation to it too? Spending your time working towards something greater than yourself instead of streaming movies 5 hours a night is a bad thing? Bettering your fitness for 4 to 6 hours a week, which is only 3% of your week, is seen as obsessive, while spending 4 to 6 hours a week at bars, restaurants, and clubs is seen as a social norm. Eat my ass. And that's what I wrote. So rather than listening to people spout the bullshit of working too much, ask yourself these questions. Is this person living the life I want to live? Yes or no? Does this person possess the qualities and traits I desire for myself? Yes or no? What kind of priorities does this person have, and how different are they from my own? Do I value this person's opinion? If yes, why? If not, what caused that? And this is what I was trying to get to. So you'll never meet an NBA player that tells a young man to not pursue his goal of making the NBA. But you will from a stranger on the internet. You'll never hear the words, "You're never going to make it in business," from a millionaire CEO, but you sure will from friends living paycheck to paycheck and strangers on the internet as well. And you certainly won't hear Arnold, the king of bodybuilding, tell you you'll never lose weight or gain muscle, but you sure as shit will from every lazy, undisciplined, and overweight person who has, quote, tried everything. Pay attention to where these opinions and unsolicited advice comes from. Take inventory of the people telling you these things as well as who is encouraging you. So keep an inventory of who is saying what to you, and if it's good or bad or encouraging or discouraging, and ask yourself those questions, right? Is this person living the life that I want to live? Yes or no? Does this person possess qualities and traits I desire for myself? Yes or no? What kind of priorities does this person have, and how different are they from my own? Do I value this person's opinion? If yes, why? If not, why not? We gotta, pre-qualify them. Who the fuck's talking to me about whatever? Let's see. And then I continue to write. Actually, I'm not even gonna get into that. Am I gonna get into that? I'll read it, guys. No, I'm not. That's a whole different thing. Yeah, guys, there's so much awkward silence in this one. Well, anyway, the point being, a lot of people will tell you a lot of shit, and you just got to be aware enough to know who's saying what and where they're coming from. Because, like I said, LeBron James is never gonna. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, whoever, bro. I can almost promise and bet my entire life savings that if they saw a kid at the park playing basketball, they would never go up and say, "Hey, I wouldn't waste your time. Probably not going to make it." They would only ever encourage that little kid. And similar with the businessman, if they're making tens and hundreds of millions of dollars and somebody's got a startup business that's making $10 a day, I'm sure they could offer advice, but they're never going to say, "Hey, give up. It's not worth it," when clearly it is worth it. They're living that life, And I don't know, somebody who's got a great marriage and a happy family and 5 kids or whatever, probably not going to tell their buddy that a relationship is pointless and worthless and waste of your time, and that's not going to happen, dude. But you probably will hear those things from random fucks on the internet. You probably are going to hear those people in the break room at work or classmates at school or whatever it is, because people only try to bring you. So here's something really powerful that I heard was, only the people below you can bring you down. So you can think about that literally. If you're climbing a ladder, only people below you will ever try to bring you down. And if somebody's above you trying to bring you down, they're above you, you're below them. They probably know something you don't. They're probably trying to kick you off so you don't get the secret sauce, whatever. I actually don't know. But they're only trying to bring you down because they're below you, in the context of success in the particular matter, okay? Just want to clarify that before my balls get ripped off, okay? So, oh man, guys, I'm really tired. I apologize for the shit quality here, but should have recorded this earlier. There's no excuses, but anyway, you just got to pay attention to who's giving you advice on what. I don't really know how much more in depth to go with that. You just have to be aware of that shit. Who's talking to you about what. If I'm trying to get in shape, and somebody who's tried every diet comes over to me and talks to me about how nothing works, and fucking yawning during a podcast is the answer to all things, then if they said, guys, I lost my goddamn train of thought. What a wreck this show is. There's so much awkward silence and shit. Okay, you know what's crazy? I've been talking for almost 20 minutes. It literally feels closer to 5. That's so weird. That is so weird. Wow, this is probably the worst one yet. Dude, I had my best podcast on episode 15 so far, and then I have this one right after. God damn. 20 minutes. Okay, that's a show. Just kidding. No, I don't know, man. If you're excited and you're sharing some good news with the family or something, and someone comes over and says, hey, actually, blah, blah, blah. And so I guess in the context of yesterday's show, about balance, if you're talking about working 16 hours a day and somebody comes over and says, hey, you shouldn't work 16 hours a day, you need to do this instead. Well, they prioritize family and date night and getting sports games with their kid, whatever, and that's great. But you prioritize working 16 hours a day and getting work done and hustling. And so you wouldn't go to them and say, hey, you got to hustle more, you got to work more, because you know that they don't desire that, because if they did, they'd be working like you. And I think that's a key point right there. Good job, Bryson. So when they come to you and they say that shit, you just gotta know. You gotta be aware of you gotta know yourself well enough to know. You know what I mean? It ain't making any kind of sense. I always think about this with my grandma. So my grandma, love her to death, but she'll mention that sometimes, she hasn't done it in a while, but sometimes that I need to get on my knees and pray and go to church, read the scriptures, whatever it is. And I don't ever take offense to that. I don't get upset about that. I just don't see it the same way she does, and that's fine. But I always wonder if, in my head, if I were to approach her and say, hey, you know what? Actually, you need to stop reading scriptures. You got to stop praying. God isn't real. Don't do any of that weird hippie shit. This shit ain't real. I can only imagine that she wouldn't get mad, but I can imagine she would question me very hard and think, hey, what? Why would you tell me that? That's bullshit. Of course and she would almost go on the defense about it. Even though it's a completely asinine thing to it's very immature to try to do something like that. But the point stands that if I'm a multimillionaire and I work 16 hours a day and I go up to the single mom of 5 and I say, hey, actually the solution here is you just got to work more. And her priorities are her 5 kids, not making tens of millions of dollars. Likewise, your priorities are to make $10 million and not raise 5 kids. So therefore, you guys are on 2 separate playing fields. So having a conversation to bridge the gap here, to try to convert one to the other team or try to make another one do something different, it's a complete waste of time. There's no headway that's going to be. I mean, you could talk about what your favorite color is, but talking about trying to get somebody to switch over to the whole other playing field, that's a whole other thing. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make. You just got to be aware enough to know who's saying what to you, for what reason, and to just have, I guess, the wherewithal, if that's the right word to use, of being aware of your capabilities, what your goals are, what your priorities are, versus what you think theirs are. And that pretty much sums up the idea of what I was trying to get across. So then, dude, I was just tired of shit on this one. I apologize, guys, but hopefully that last little part was enough to give you something to walk away with. You just gotta be. I keep saying the same exact thing, but you just have to be aware of what the fuck's going on. Another example I can give off the top of my head is when a little kid, says some stupid shit. If I say, hey, I'm gonna. I don't know. I have no examples off the top of my head, dude. This is ridiculous. See, the guys, again, the podcast is for me, and serve as proof that you can start and you can go and you can fuck up along the way as long as you keep improving. And this episode is exactly what I mean. So, in my opinion, this has not been a good episode at all for numerous reasons. But now, in 5 years, I can go back and listen to this shit and say, damn, dude, what the fuck was that? And then, it just goes to show and goes to prove out for myself, and then serve as a reminder for everybody else who listens to the show that, and to be almost more connecting and relatable to other people, because I'm being fully transparent, 100% vulnerable here. I'm uploading this whether I like it or not, because that's the rules. I made a commitment to these rules, so it is what it is. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the show there. If you got any kind of insight or takeaway from this, please let me know. I feel like I did a horrible job compared to yesterday's episode 6. So we go from episode 15 to 16, night and day, completely different. 15 was the best one I've ever recorded. 16 is arguably the worst. So it is what it is. Anyway, that's the show, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Go ahead and share the show. Use hashtag sub100club if you have listened to all 100 episodes below 100. That way I know who is a true motherfucker and who is an imposter. So, all right, guys. It is midnight just about. So I'll be heading to bed here in a second. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for listening.